going out with a bang. Let's step into the On Deck Circle.
You're listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar App, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to On Deck right here on the LineStar app. It is me, it's KC Bubba, and it's you for one last time this year. It's the end of the DFS MLB show at LineStar, but we've just begun the NFL one, so don't worry. We've still got you covered because the pre-snap is alive and well with Scott Bogman and myself. The wagering show drops today. Yesterday was the DFS show. So we're rocking and rolling courtesy of the LineStar app, the best DFS tool site in the history of the universe. So go out there and get it. Make sure you upgrade to that premium product while you do. And Bubba, here we are. It's the end of the season for you and me. But I just want to say to everybody out there, what a mensch KC Bubba is, who gets up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast to do this show with me. Now granted, he's up anyway because he's got a young kid. He's got a newborn. So that's just part of the gig. But I just want to thank you, my friend, because this show has been absolutely so much fun to do with you. And I'm so grateful that you agreed to do it, especially on the short notice. And I'm looking forward to doing 6 months, hopefully, next year of baseball with you. No COVID. Just, everyone healthy, going out. Well, not healthy because it's Major League Baseball. But still, I would love to get a shot to do that with you next year. And I just want to thank you, my friend, for always bringing not only the humor, but also bringing the fantastic knowledge every single day, my friend. It really has been awesome to do this show with you, and I will miss it, to be honest with you. I'll miss our talks.
Oh, well, Joey, I appreciate it, man. It's very, very kind words. I appreciate you asking me to be a part of the show. It's been an absolute blast. I always enjoy just chatting with you in general. If people heard half the conversations before the show, they would think this show is tame. So that's really fun, but I've had a blast doing it.
You know what? It's pretty much the same. Like, I feel like I hit record and it's pretty much the same thing we do. Like, our conversations pretty much bleed over to the show. That's the beauty of the show.
True. Very true. So, yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a fun, quick season. I definitely look forward to a 6-month stretch, hopefully, next year.
And let me tell you, let me also thank, while we have it, our team here at LineStar App, all the great people that behind the scenes here, including Dan and Eric, who are running the show here, and they are so supportive, so consistent. And that is something it's just, not only is it hard to find in fantasy sports, it's hard to find in life. And I just want to thank those two guys because they do a tremendous job of supporting us here. Not only just social media, but just support and positivity. And it just goes to show you can create a positive environment in a workspace. And guess what? Everyone responds and everyone's excited to go to work every day. And I'm excited to go to work every day. And, I hope you've been enjoying the show. And I want to ask everybody too, if you've enjoyed the show all season, please, our little thank you note at the end of the year, give us a 5-star review for the podcast. And please subscribe to it so you know when it comes back next year for MLB. Again, it's the obviously the On Deck show and then the pre-snap as well. So wherever you get your podcast, go out there, give us a 5-star review, and please subscribe to the shows because we're working overtime here to get you everything you need. So I'm not going to spend too much time on yesterday. I want to focus on the big slate today, but I just want to say, Lance Lynn, I got a finger for you. And guess what? I think Bubba's got one for Corbin Burns as well.
Yeah, I think Corbin Burns can use something because he left with a hand injury in the middle of the game. Just so something kicked up.
Well, that's what I said. I got a finger for him. I figured it was like he actually needed an extra one. Well, what did you think I meant? What? All you guys out there listening, did you think I meant something else?
I was thinking you're going full 316 on this place and you're ready to rock and roll. So I didn't know.
Well, that's the bottom line because Joe P said so. What? Yeah, Eric, if you're listening, don't worry. I'm not going to show up at the office and give you a stunner. Or am I?
Yeah. And if I'm in the hospital, don't show up in my room either.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that bedpan, hit you over the head with it. Oh god, you know what? I don't know if there's a more glorious sound. Just on a side note, just a wrestling moment here. Is there more glorious sound than the bedpan hitting Vince McMahon's head? I mean, it is. Oh, it's so good. It's one of the great sounds ever. You could run that on loop, and I would just probably watch it for 5 straight minutes and just smile.
Yeah, that was one of the best moments of the Attitude Era we've ever seen. It was just pure gold.
Okay. Well, that's when you knew like they were doing something really special,
Yes,
which is
definitely.
kind of funny. It was Mr. Sacco's debut, the whole thing.
Yep,
I know you're getting
it was
wrestling this
amazing.
morning. You tuned in
Yep,
for baseball, but hey, this is what we're trying to
the
do
last
here.
episode. Here we go.
Last episode, we're trying to give you fun. So, Bubba, what's the slate look like tonight for everybody? Because it's a new day. Yes, it is. It's a fun Friday. So, what's it look like today? It seems almost, dare I say, normal.
It's close. If you're on FanDuel, there's a 3-game slate from the 6 o'clock hour, and then a 8-game or a 9-game main slate starting at 7:05 Eastern. If you go on DraftKings, there's a 10-game main slate starting at 7:05 Eastern because they were goofy enough to add Game 1 of the Giants doubleheader on their main slate. No idea why, but they did. So essentially, very close main slate. FanDuel, like usual, you can play the 6 o'clock games. We're on DraftKings. You can't.
All right, so let's start with DK tonight, and let's start with J Happ 8.6 against Sandy Alcantara. These two team, well, one of them still trying to fight around a little bit. The Yankees are in, and again, I don't think Yankees really want to rest a lot of guys because a lot of guys haven't had a lot of playing time, so it seems like everybody needs some ABs. So I wouldn't worry too much about the lineup here. So, Bubba, how do you approach this one on FanDuel? 7-7 for Happ, 8.1 for Alcantara, but neither of these pitchers really kind of scream confidence. But then again, Lance Lynn had all the confidence in the world for me yesterday, and he blew it. So anyway, what's your thoughts on Yankees? Can you tell I'm bitter? I'm still bitter about that.
No,
Right,
no, I can't, Joe. I've never figured out your bitter voice. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm bitter. Yeah, Yankees Marlins. Go ahead, you take it away while I wallow in my bitterness.
Yeah, I'm definitely not targeting any pitchers in this game. I believe the Yankees, I'm with you there. They're going to need to play these guys because even Aaron Boone, after the game yesterday, had some not so great words about how bad his team's playing right now. He needs some confidence going into the postseason. So look for the full gamut to be out there for the Yankees. You can pay up for the big boys if you want, but I prefer to just take some value in this game like the Aaron Hickses of the world. I'm not going to go to Brett Gardner tonight unless you really get bored and really need a value. But like Aaron Hicks and Gleyber Torres only 33 on FanDuel. You could go there. DraftKings are all expensive. So you can look at value with the Marlins, though, if you want. Aguilar at 3,100 on both sites is a nice, like, kind of one-off type play. But overall, this is not a game I'm going all in on.
All right, let's move in on Chris Mazza at 5.6 on FanDuel against Kyle Wright at 6.4. Wright 6.2 over on DK. He was good his last start out. Do you want to keep rolling with that a little bit against the Red Sox?
No, I'd like to keep targeting him because prior to that last start, we were just all over him, and I'm just going to continue to think it's not there. I actually prefer the Brave side of this thing against Mazza because Mazza's been really, really bad this year. This is a good matchup to game stack or at least get some exposure. The Braves are expensive on both sides, as we've talked many times, but Freeman in a matchup like this, Ozzie Albies been swinging it well. You can sprinkle in the values of the Duvalls of the world, the Rileys, especially on FanDuel where they're very affordable. And the one thing I will mention, digging in on the Red Sox some more, Jackie Bradley Jr. has been insanely good. He's hit safely in all but 3 games in September. So he's 27 on FanDuel and like 34 on DraftKings. If you just need a value even in cash, he's a good play to put out there.
All right, let's move on to the San Francisco Giants tonight, going against Dinelson Lamet. Lamet is 9.7 over there on DK, over on FanDuel. Why do I not see this game?
It's only on DraftKings.
Oh, this is the one that's only on DK. That's right, because it's game 1. All right, so let's just talk about going back and forth. Like, wait a minute. Anyway, all right, so Lamet at 9.7 on DK. It's not terrible. My only fear is, do they pull him after a few innings just because the playoffs are approaching? That's kind of my feeling. So I don't know. I think it's very dicey, especially against San Fran, who can swing the bat a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I kind of have that feeling at the same time. It's a doubleheader. So how many pitchers do they have is the question. So it's an interesting way to go about it. The Giants need to win. The Padres don't, obviously.
Well, you know what? The converse is he can go 5 innings and get a win much easier, too.
Yes.
The bridge to the win there is even shorter. It's only a 2-inning. Like, if it was a 9-inning game, actually, you know what? That's actually a better point. If it's a 9-inning game, Dinelson Lamet gets pulled in the 5th. You got 4 innings to figure things out.
Bullpen.
Right. Yeah. And you only get 2 innings of bullpen. It's a little bit easier to figure out. So 9.7, it's reasonable. And look, this is where we're going to be at this weekend. So you have to think about these things if you're going to go play.
A lot of moving parts. Like last night in the A's game, Luzardo didn't start. He came in like the 6th inning. So that'll make you really happy. But when it comes to this game, I'm kind of avoid the pitching. If you want some bats, like Machado and Tatis are fine. But in a 7-inning game, you're probably losing an at-bat. So overall, I'm just going to kind of cross this game off.
All right, let's move on then. If you're crossing things off, Mitch Keller against Carlos Carrasco, Cookies 10.4 over on DK on FanDuel, he's 10.8. Your feelings about him in that price tonight?
He's an interesting GPP play. There's a couple other arms that'll be priced up that I can definitely get behind a little more than Carrasco. Has been inconsistent, but it is a Pirates team we love to attack. The strikeouts will be there. He just doesn't seem like he's been right most of the season. So I'm gonna use him. If you're multi-entering, I wouldn't mind some Cookie. I'll go that route. But as a whole, he's not one of my top targets tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not one of the top guys for me either, although it is against Pittsburgh. So
Yep.
I don't hate it. I really don't. He's been a little inconsistent all year. So that's always the fear. But at home against the Pirates, I think it's worth a shot. I think I would prefer it actually. I would prefer it not as the standalone because then you basically sink or swim. There's nothing that can save you. If you go down with this ship, you go down hard. On DK, if you want to use it as a pairing, who knows? Maybe get something out of that secondary arm that's surprising. Maybe it can float you, but you definitely bring up some good points there. Anything here you want to go in for the Jose Ramirez price? He's 5.6 on DK. He is 4.1 on FanDuel. And he's looking like a possible MVP this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, the 5.6 is very, very tricky to get behind. Like, if you can afford it, I don't mind it, but it's not great because you're not going to stack the Indians. But on FanDuel at 41, if you made some values elsewhere, I have no problem with him as a one-off of the way he's been hitting. Like you said, MVP candidate. Everything's going gold for Ramirez right now.
All right, let's move on here. Spencer Turnbull, 7.4K against Brad Keller, 8.3. This is over on FanDuel. The DK pricing is Keller 7.4, Turnbull at 7.8. Any love here for Turnbull tonight, who's, been able to go out there and throw some good starts. And look, the Royals is a team that, is beatable some nights. So do you think there's any love here for Turnbull here, especially as a secondary arm on DK, maybe in tournaments?
I don't mind him as a secondary arm in tournaments. There's a couple other guys I like more, and I'm respecting the way that Kansas City's been hitting the ball the last 4 or 5 games. They're really swinging it. Salvi Perez is stroking it. You still have Mondesi, who's uber cheap, of course, on FanDuel and not on DraftKings. So the Royals could be a nice GPP little look here with like a Mondesi Perez 1-2 puncher, sprinkle in a Merrifield if you want. Franchi Cordero's back and hitting everything, and he's basically free. He's 2,000 on FanDuel, 23 on DraftKings. So I don't mind the Royals a little bit, and the Tigers are always value because Brad Keller is not that great.
No, he's not. Well, that's kind of the thought process on Turnbull, too. Keller's not very good. Royals have been hitting a little bit. There's always that hiccup where you don't see it coming. I wonder if Turnbull is that hiccup. I like it as a secondary arm in DK. I don't like it on FanDuel as a standalone. I would stay away from that. But Bubba's right. If you want to play safer with this lineup, it's definitely going over probably more user-friendly on FanDuel, as it always is for the Royals. Those low market teams, the small markets, they tend to be, like the Marlins, we keep saying, what's the difference there? Marte is 5.2 on one site and he's barely 3K on the other. It's just, It's not close. If you're trying to make all things equal, starting Marte should be 4 something. Same thing here with Mondesi. Why is he 2.9 on one and 5 on the other? It doesn't make any sense. So when you see that, it's telling you they're trying to get a little bit more action. So take advantage of that. The Royals are a better buy there. Turnbull's a better buy on DK. You could split it up there, hedge yourself a little bit, and see if you can make some cash on it. Jose Urquidy, 6.8 against Kyle Cody. Kyle! So, can Kyle Cody make it 2 nights in a row here against the Houston Astros?
No, I'm going to go with no on that one, Bob. I think Houston can hit them.
I shouldn't say 2 nights in a row. I guess can he get some revenge for Lance Lynn? I guess is really the question. That's the question I want to ask.
There you go. I think Houston is what you want in this game, and more important, I think Jose Urquidy is a nice value. 68 on FanDuel. If you want to go uber GPP, I'm not saying you have to, but he can be interesting. And then on DraftKings as a secondary arm at 71. Big fan of that. We talk about how much Texas strikes out, how inconsistent their bats are. I like the Urquidy upside in this one.
Okay, so if you like the Urquidy upside, what do you think about the bats here? You got Brantley at 3.2, Bregman at 3.6. Seems like the heart of that order is pretty affordable there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there, Bregman. I think hit for the cycle last night or came very close. I'm always a fan of Kyle Tucker at 3.5. He's really swinging it. You mentioned Brantley. Even Altuve went deep last night. So they all hit the ball well. But yeah, if you want to stick with like a Brantley, Tucker, Bregman, like three-man stack, I like that a lot. It's not too expensive tonight on FanDuel.
Tyler Mahle, 8.5 against Jose Barrios, 9.2. Barrios at home here with the Twins. Red's been really, really good. Obviously, we know this. Barrios is 9.2 over on DK as well. Mahle's 8.3. So what are your thoughts on this one here? Do you go with the streaking Reds against Barrios and take what could be some low rostership? Because let's face it, the Twins are the Twins, and Barrios has been pretty good this year. I mean, started off slow, but certainly got better as the year went on. Or do you just ride this Reds wagon all the way into the playoffs here?
It's a tricky one because we like Barrios at home quite a bit. The Reds are red hot, like you said. The Twins need to win to try to get the Central from the White Sox. Still, they're fighting for that. There's a lot of moving parts in this game, and I respect
as we move all these parts around, Bub, I also, whenever we do this happened a couple weeks ago too, when there were so many moving parts, we said, okay, here's what you do. You have to make more lineups, play more contests. So if you're playing, let's say you're playing $30 tonight, well, it's just whatever, right? Instead of playing like, two $10 cash games and, two tournaments, or something like that, maybe you play more tournaments and you play 4 $5 tournaments and one $10 cash game, something like that, where all of a sudden I think you're spreading out more lineups, you're spreading it out because it feels like a night where there's a lot more variables. And if so, you've got to account for that a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And if that's the case, then I kind of like Tyler Mahle in a tournament, to be honest with you, against the Twins.
He's been really
He's been really, really effective. And it's nothing against Barrios, but he's never been a massive strikeout guy. And the Reds bats are potentially coming in hotter than the Twins. That might be a bold statement, but I think it's true. So give me Mahle in a tournament in this game. I think that's a sneaky way to go about it.
Yeah. Once again, over on DK, you're looking for some value there. Winker's 3.9. Akiyama's at the top of the order. Again, he's 2.5. Over on FanDuel, Akiyama's 2.3. Suarez 3.4. Mustaka's still cheap, 2.9. Winker still cheap, 2.8. I don't understand why, but you know what? Take it while you can get it. Darvish is 10.8 on DK against Dylan Cease. Over on FanDuel, he's 11.2. Super expensive. So I guess the question is, can you make it work? Can you go up tonight to Darvish at that huge salary on FanDuel as the standalone? Because on a night where they're, basically you can get Kershaw for 9.7, which we're going to get to in a second. I have a hard time doing that on FanDuel right now. I mean, as good as Darvish has been, I don't know. There seems like a lot of strange out there tonight. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying I'm hesitant. Bubba, what do you think about the Kershaw versus Darvish debate?
100% with you. I'd rather have Kershaw over Darvish. The biggest
Especially
question
at home, the
Kershaw biggest question, I guess, is how many innings does Kershaw go? Because it's just a ramp up for the playoffs. I still think he goes 5 or 6 at least. I think they're going to let him do his thing, give him a full start because he's not going to pitch for like 4 or 5 days again. So I'd rather have Kershaw on FanDuel for sure at 97. I even like the $800 savings on DraftKings. So as much as I like Darvish, the matchup against the White Sox compared to against the Angels, I'll take Kershaw tonight over Darvish.
All right, now here's a fun question. Because he's so expensive and because the night's kind of all over the place, is Darvish, who's super expensive, if he drops a huge game against the White Sox in a very good lineup, my goodness, I imagine the ownership percentage is very low. Does Darvish become an intriguing tournament play tonight because of the upside, because of the matchup, because of the ownership percentage? All those factors all kind of roped into one.
Oh, 100%. That'd be the biggest way to play him. Like in cash, you just don't play him at that price. But in a tournament, it brings all the appeal to the table. It's kind of like we talked about a few nights back in another situation like this. If you can get that low ownership for a guy that's basically the Cy Young.
I think it was Garrett Cole. It was Garrett Cole, and he dropped that huge start. Right? We were right about
that. There's a reason they're priced where they are. That's the thing. Right. So it's if you can afford it, he makes for a phenomenal play.
Yeah, I think it was Garrett Cole because it was the same night where you had DeGrom and some other guys, and it was like, well, people are going to pass over it, so take it and play it in the tournament instead. Because I think it was against Buffalo, if memory serves, something like that. And we all were like, let's just, I don't know, Cole in tournament's even better. Because everyone's going to be afraid of it because he hasn't been great, but let's not forget how great he is. And sure enough, he was great, and that was a good call there. So we'll fade away from the White Sox. Boy, what a weird way to end, to fade away from the White Sox. But
crazy.
I mean, do you agree that you want to fade away from against Darvish? I think you have to.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to, unless you're making like 20 lineups, I don't need to waste I don't need to take my chances with that White Sox lineup against Darvish.
Yusei Kikuchi, 7.2K on FanDuel against Chris Bassett, 8.6. 8.6 is a decent value for Bassett, 7.9 over on DK. That's a good, low risk pairing with Darvish right there is the 7.9 Bassett. That's the one that I like the most so far of all these guys we've gone through on DK to pair up, where I feel like there's a good floor. He's got some offensive potential. We know the strikeout rate of the Mariners is higher than normal, even though Bassett's not a strikeout pitcher, so that kind of helps a little bit. So I feel like that's the pairing on DK that I like the most tonight. What are your thoughts on Bassett, the Mariners, and the A's?
100% on board with the Bassett call. That price tag is too cheap for a guy that's pitched as well as he has over the last month or so. Phenomenal SP2. Even if you want to get all the bats, you could use him and say an Urquidy or something and just go crazy. That's another option for you. Or
That's not a bad. That's not a bad approach either. That one also works for me.
Because especially on DraftKings where the bats are so expensive, then you can start getting into some of those games you really want to. So I love Bassett in general, either SP1, SP2, whatever you want to do. On FanDuel, great tournament action. On DK, I don't mind attacking, or in general, attacking Kikuchi. That's for sure. When you look at Oakland, Sean Murphy's $3,800 as a catcher. Don't usually like to pay that much, but he's probably actually one of their hottest hitters right now. So I don't mind him. He's very affordable on FanDuel. You got Laureano, Grossman. You got some righties to attack Kikuchi with, but most importantly in this game, I want Bassett.
Simeon and Kana are cheap on FanDuel also. 3.1 for Simeon. Kana is 2.8, hitting in that 2-3 spot against the lefty tonight, so that's a good spot. To Scotty's 2.7. There's definitely some value here in the A's lineup too that you want to get involved with. That way you could pay up for some of the bigger bats. All right, and last but not least, let's go over to Clayton Kershaw here. Kershaw 9.7 for the Dodgers tonight against Andrew Heaney, who is capable. There's no doubt about that. So we already kind of touched on Kershaw at home. We hope he goes 5 or 6 at 9.7 on FanDuel. It's very good. 10K, it's doable over on DK. But is there any love for Heaney at 8.7 on FanDuel and 8.4 on DK, respectively? He has an oppo play tonight. If you want to attack.
Yeah, in a tournament, sure, because Kershaw will be very popular, so no one's going to own Heaney. The Dodgers, very hot and cold at times. And like you said, Heaney, he can show up against any team, and he's done it many times. He's one of the guys I probably get wrong more often than not because he's either really, really good or really, really bad, and I usually pick the wrong time to play him. But in a tournament similar to the Molly conversation we had earlier, I think Heaney's very much viable if we're making a few lineups.
All right, it's that time again, boys and girls. It's time to call our shot. Bubba and I are each going to pick somebody to go yard. And if you follow us over at the LineStar app on Twitter, you can win some free stuff. Just give us your home run call, retweet, give us a like, and the next thing you know, boom, free stuff, free swag. So I'm going to go first because I want to leave on a high note this year. So I'm going to go with Jose Ramirez against Mitch Keller. That's right. Jose Ramirez at home. He's 4-1 on FanDuel tonight. The guy's been red hot. He's trying to win an MVP. Go get him, Jose. My namesake, by the way. From one Jose to another Jose. Go get him, buddy. I want to leave with a home run. That's how I want to end the podcast this year. Bubba, where are you going for your home run tonight? Who are you calling your shot with?
That's a very, very strong one. You went with potentially the AL MVP. I'm going to go potentially with the NL MVP. And I have Freddie Freeman taking Mazza deep in Atlanta tonight. So let's end with a bang tonight, Joey P.
Yes, can we please? And look, make sure you go out there and follow Casey Bubba. Bubba's going to be writing for the Baseball Black Book again this year. And keep an eye out for that. We're going to try to have that out in December this year for Christmas because 2020 sucked. So everybody should be able to get something nice for Christmas this year. So we'll be working overtime on that. And I know all the LineStar folks are going to be working overtime too. Again, please, if you've listened to the show all year, go give us a 5-star review. It takes 2 seconds to do. Boom, 5 stars. You write a little thing, and then boom, you're done. And we really appreciate it here. And it helps the cause quite a bit. So take a little bit of time. I see the listening numbers. I see you out there. I can see you. So, take a second. Help us out. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you listening all season here as well. It's been fantastic. Again, please follow us over on Twitter at LineStar App, at LineStar MLB. And for you football fans, continue to subscribe to the pre-snap wherever you get your podcasts. New wagering show drops today, so that'll be out as well. And Bubba, just a great season, man. You crushed it. I just couldn't ask for a better partner to be doing this with, especially in such a weird, wacky season, dude. I mean, I think you just absolutely crushed, and I'm so happy and lucky and grateful to have you.
Well, I appreciate it. The feelings are definitely mutual, Joe. You steer the ship in a beautiful way. We have so much fun. The knowledge is always there, so it's been easy to be the sidekick, the Robin to your Batman on this. It's been very, very fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but you're like the cool Robin. You're like, if
I'm like the Kool-Aid man, but we'll go with Robin for now.
No, I'm trying to think of like the cool Robin, but I guess it's like, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt the cool Robin at the end of the?
Oh no.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make you Chris O'Donnell. That's kind of weird.
True,
like,
very true. I appreciate that.
I'd rather be Joseph Gordon-Levitt if I was you, because it kind of alluded that they were going in that direction at the end of that last.
Maybe here we go. Maybe I'll be the Penguin to your Joker.
Okay, yes, that's much better. On that note, by the way, you know how I got this podcast? Anyway.
Why so serious?
you know how I got this podcast? That's a great open to a show, right? And then every day you just tell a different reason, a different lie why you have it.
Oh, man.
And that's why we get 5 stars. So go follow us at Joe Pisapia 17 at KC Bubba. There's nothing left for us to do now except step out of the on deck circle and into the batter's box and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.